Aloha everyone! Today we have a tutorial for Sound of Silence by Paul Simon. This song was voted on by the patrons for the February 2017 patron supported tutorial. So thank you patrons for voting and for supporting what I do. If you're interested in joining our online ukulele community and participating in some online live jams and other fun stuff, then check out Patreon. Okay, so Sound of Silence only has 5 chords, and I've put it in a key that should be relatively easy for everyone to learn, although it sits very low in my voice. So for most people, since my voice is higher, for most people this will be pretty comfortable, but just recognize I'm singing down here, yeah? So first we're gonna do a playthrough of the entire song, so just sing along, get an idea of the flow of the song, and then afterwards I will break down the chord transitions, the strumming pattern, and that iconic finger picking pattern. You might want to download a chord chart. There's a link in the description below so that you can get the chord diagrams and all the lyrics and all that good stuff. So let's go to the playthrough. Okay, so I'll count it in. The intro finger picking will go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and... Hello darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know, silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you, take my arms that I might reach you, but my words like silent raindrops fell, echoed in the wells of silence, and the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made, and the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was for me, and the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sounds of silence. So let's start by just playing a single strum on the chords as we move through the verse. That way you can just get used to the chords. Let's go to the second verse and we'll just do single strums on the chords and then we'll do it again and then I'll give you some chord transition tips. But the first time through, just get used to the chord shapes, okay? So in restless dreams I walked alone another day, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a... Okay, check it out. We have a fancy C here. You can play regular C if you don't like this fancy C, but I like the fancy C. All right, you want your index across the E and A string on the 3rd fret, and then add your middle finger. Okay, right? Regular C, fancy C. Okay. All right, so that second line. Neath the halo of a street lamp. Another G. I turned my collar to the cold and damp. Another G on the next line. 2, 3. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of the neon light. So many words in the song. That split the night. Now add your pinky for E minor. Back to G. And touch the D sound. E minor of silence. Okay, so we're going to do all that again and talk more about those chord transitions, okay? We'll do that same verse. In restless dreams, starting with D. In restless dreams I walked alone. Okay, now to get to the E minor, I would take my ring finger, slide it over on that C string, and then assemble my E minor. But, you know, sometimes I don't do that anyway, and then I kind of bring my index all the way down to the A string and then assemble my E minor. I like to say there's no rules in ukulele. Do what's comfortable for you, okay? So again, from the top, D. In restless dreams I walked alone. Okay, try your ring finger sliding, E minor, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a... Okay, so now to get to the fancy C, you can move your middle finger up, right? And then kind of slide your whole hand over, then your middle finger's in place. That index finger just has to creep up a little bit. A street. And then we're gonna slide back to the G. I just take my index finger and slide it, or move it up and slide it back, and then assemble my G. Lamp. I turn my collar to that. Again, try that sliding up. And you bring your middle finger up and slide. Cold and index finger sliding back. Damn. You can also, right? Some people might find it easier if they slide actually and they use their index finger to bar G. You can do that. And there are no rules in ukulele. You can do that. Okay, so you could try that. So let's try all of that again from the top. All right. In restless dreams I walked alone. D. Narrow streets of cobblestone stone. Get ready to slide neath the halo of a street. Slide back left. Try your bar. You can try your bar G. I turned my collar to the cold and damp. Okay, now go to the 3rd line, which starts with the G. Now you're going back to that C, fancy C. So there's a lot of that G to fancy C switching back and forth. So let's just do that a little bit. C, right, slide back, G, slide up. C. You could actually bar this whole thing, right? The bottom 3 strings, if that's easier for you. That might be less to move for some people. There are a lot of ways to make chord transitions easier and more efficient for your hands. So you can just figure out for yourself, right? And you can go to the full G. C, fancy C, bar. Okay, now let's keep going. That third line, we start with the G. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night, G. Now I like to use my pinky for this E minor. And that, we learned that transition in Hallelujah, if for those of you who did that tutorial, right? G, E minor, get that pinky nice and strong, especially because then we're going right back to the G, right? Pinky, then just lift off again, G, last line, and touch the, now to get to the D, try to slide that ring finger back 1 fret, assemble your D. Touch the sound, and then now slide that ring finger again for E minor of silence. So there's kind of a lot of awkward sliding in this, but your hand will get used to it. It is just a matter of muscle memory. So now let's add our strumming pattern. This is the same strumming pattern that we did for Creep, if you did that tutorial. It's down, 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 down. So all down strums, but heavier on that third strum, okay? So we'll try it on the D. You go down, down, and then heavier. Right? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. So some people ask, are you supposed to not play all of the strings on the lighter strum? I say you want to have enough control that you can strum, touch every string every time you strum, but just be able to play lighter on the light ones and then lean into the strum a little bit more on that heavier one. So let's try that again on the D. Ready? Slowly, we'll go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Now let's speed it up. 1, 2, 3, and. Okay, so let's try that. We'll do it slower as we move through the verse. We'll do that second verse again, Restless Dreams. Just take note that when you see chords in brackets, that means that they are splitting the measure. So for most chords, you're going to play 2 of those 1, 2, 3, 4 patterns, and then on those brackets, you're just going to play 1 of those patterns for each chord, which means that they move pretty fast. Okay. So let's start with the D. Okay. In restless dreams I walked up 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. The second D. Narrow streets of E minor, stone 3, and 1, 2, 3, and neath the halo of a. Okay, now just 1 C, a street lamp, 1 G, and then a full G. I turn my collar to the 1 C cold and back to G. Then third line G. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the 1 G, 1 E minor, back to G, and touch the sound of silence, and just a single strum at the end of each verse. Okay, I know that might have been pretty fast, but you can always rewind this video. In YouTube, if you go to the gear icon in the right corner, bottom corner, you can play this back at half speed. That way it gives you a chance to play as slowly as you need to and build up. Okay, so now taking that verse pattern, now we can apply the picking pattern. So quick finger picking basics for anyone who hasn't done any of my finger picking tutorials. I use a finger picking notation where I say which finger you're going to use for the pattern, right? So I make the thumb 1, the index 2, the middle finger 3, and the ring finger 4, and I allow each finger to have its own string. 4 fingers, 4 strings. So your thumb goes above the G, right? On top of the G, and then your 2, 3, 4 fingers go below the respective C, E, A strings, all right? So the pattern here is 2, 4, 3, and then 4. Okay? Now let's take our E sus2 chord. That's that kind of iconic chord, intro chord that makes for that picking pattern that's totally recognizable, yeah? So the E sus2 chord, you're going to use your index finger across both of those strings, like in our fancy C, yeah? But now we're on the 2nd fret, and then you're going to add your ring finger over here on the 4th fret. So if you pick 2, right, you're just holding this chord, 2, 4, 3, and then 4. Yeah, that's the sound. Okay, so I'll play that steadily, right? We'll go 2, 4, 3, 4. Hello, darkness, my old. Okay, so you just want to kind of get comfortable with that picking pattern. Okay, so in our Patreon live lessons, some of the patrons said that they had trouble picking with these fingers, getting those fingers to move fast enough. If you want to, you might prefer to pick with your thumb, right? I'm not much of a thumb picker, but maybe because I started off playing guitar. So do what's comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be these 2, 3, 4 fingers either. You could use your thumb and your index. I kind of like that. Maybe I'll move to doing that. But otherwise, you can hold your thumb on the top string to kind of leverage your hand while you use the 2, 3, 4 fingers. Yeah? Okay. So keep playing with that. Now let's walk ourselves slowly through that intro verse. So the verse chords are exactly the same. Now we're just adding that picking pattern. So we use the strum to learn those chords because it's more complicated to pick and change chords at the same time. So practice the chord transitions, then practice the strum, and then add the picking pattern. I like to do it in that order. So let's start with D, yeah? Actually, let's start with our fancy intro E sus2, okay? Ready? So we'll pick 2, 4, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and. So 2 of these for each chord that you see. Hello, darkness, my old. Now transition to your D. Friend, I've come to talk with you. Slide your E minor again. Because a vision softly, fancy C, slide up. E creepy, back to your G. Left its seats while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains. Pinky for the E minor, G, within the slide sound. Okay, this is the only part that's a little different. We're going to go to that E sus2 to finish this picking pattern on that last word, silence. Silence. And then we're going to strum the E minor. So take that section, practice it slowly, rewind it, watch it at half speed. Now the last thing to look at is the very last verse. So in the last verse, we are going to strum most of the time, and then on the very last verse, you'll see at end of tenement halls, there's an asterisk. You're going to go to the outro. So you're going to strum a little bit, and then you're going to hold, all right? And then go back to picking. So let's give that a try, okay? So we'll strum again on, and the people bowed and prayed, right? 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, and, right? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, and the people bowed and prayed, 3, and 1. To the neon god they made. sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was for me. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls. E minor, last line, and whispered in the sounds. Now go back to your picking on E sus2 of silence. Two of these, ending on the E minor. Okay, so that sound of silence. Again, go back to the different sections, work the chords, work the strumming pattern, work the picking pattern, then put it all together and try to play with me at the top. So take your time with it, have fun with it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe, like, comment, leave me your feedback. Please consider checking out Patreon, and I will see you guys next time. Ciao!